nou ja, in het midden van een bepaald tijdframe. Ja, op een of andere manier voelt het alsof dat er nou ja, misschien puzzelstukjes op een plaat gaan vallen. Zeg maar. Het is allemaal cryptisch en omslachtig gezegd, maar ja,
Hey, loop weg.
ja,
Maar ik kan je nog steeds horen.
ja, dat is omdat ik die headset heb zonder snoertjes.
Oh,
Oh, zal ik gewoon eten, dan heb jij dat gesmak in je oor. Valt dat mee?
valt mee hoor.
Oh, als ik mijn mond open eet?
Nee, dat valt nauwelijks op. Oprecht.
Echt?
Ja. Het is juist
Nou, dan
heel
eet ik gewoon.
natuurlijk. Het valt zo weg, zeg maar. Net alsof je met iemand aan tafel zit. Dat hoor je eigenlijk ook niet.
Oh ja, nou ja, beter. Ik hoor wel kraken in mijn hoofd. Dan heb ik alleen slaap tussen mijn tanden zometeen.
Hey, en wil je in het Engels proberen te praten? Kijk hoe dat is.
Mhm.
Want ja,
Yes, but
because if we want to scale this podcast to higher levels, to reach a wider audience, we need to speak in English.
and more interesting visitors, guests.
Yep.
Yeah, but I just wanted to tell you about my meal, my lunch, that we are eating more vegetables since yeah since the new year actually. Um, so now instead of bread, I'm eating things I can't translate into English right away. So we have egg
And
and
lettuce.
what did you say?
Lettuce?
Lettuce, yes. It's field lettuce, veldsla.
Veel lettuce. Wel zo, ja. Classic comedy.
And we have Daniel avocado. It's very small, and it's drenched in how you call that green stuff. It's made of cashew nuts and olive oil, I guess. How you call it? It's uh, pesto.
Alright, this is the point of view. Uh, yeah, this is what you see when you are food.
Yeah, but not the way out. It's like throwing up what you did.
In the next episode.
I came back out. But the idea of eating more vegetables, it's very interesting. My wife Rianka showed me that. There is it's not important, but it has influence the order in which you eat things. So if you eat vegetables first, and then your egg whites, how you call it,
Yeah, protein.
protein. Stupid word. Egg white is much easier to visualize because of an egg.
Get over it.
That's rare. My jokes aren't that funny usually.
Protein, yeah.
So you have the vegetables, the egg whites, and then the
Protein.
carbohydrates.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When you become professional, you can say protein. Um, and then it has an influence on your bloedsuikerspiegel, your glucose level, the glucose levels in your blood. So when you eat only carbohydrates, it spikes, and what a spike results in a peak of energy, and then I think energy drop. And when you eat the vegetables first, the graph smooths out. Smooth. It's like Arnold smooths
Isn't that
out.
a lovely word? Smooth. Smoother.
Smooth.
It sucks.
Correct.
Smooth.
Yeah. I feel it's really an Arnold word. Perhaps you should make a list of that.
Tone breakers.
Yeah, words that makes me sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger. But you get
Yeah,
the
but that's
idea.
the
So
charm. Yeah, yeah.
instead
Go
of
on.
a spike, you get a more yeah, flowy glucose levels in your blood, and so you don't get the energy peak, and especially not the energy dip, and so you get less grumpy, less hungry, and you are less seeking for snacks uh, after you have eaten.
I've
So,
actually heard something along those lines from someone I follow online, Stephen Mark
mhm,
Ryan, and he said something similar, like don't start your day with a heavy meal because then all your energy, all your mental energy, all your physical energy will go to your stomach processing food instead of putting your brain to work. So
okay.
he said something like starting with a heavy breakfast is like commonly promoted as the best meal of the day, most important meal of the day. And he was like, no, it isn't, because you will spend all your energy digesting your food in your stomach instead of
Hmm.
using your energy to actually work to get food. If you know what I mean.
Hmm.
That
Hmm.
that maybe translates to the more evolutional side of
So,
humanity. So
so
that's a whole other discussion. But I found it quite interesting that you need to get to work and then get rewarded with food at the end of the
that's
day.
also a biblical point of view.
Yeah, go.
Biblical, yeah. Well, God said to Adam when he was banned out of Eden that he should work uh, for the rest of his life in order to eat. In the Garden of Eden, they had everything they wanted, but after the original sin, not, food was not for granted anymore. So you can have stocks, so you can eat in the morning, but
Yeah, but don't
but
start
but
with a
but
heavy meal.
yeah, regardless of the evolution or biblical point of view, it's maybe like a racing car. They don't qualify with a full tank. They choose, uh, yeah, half empty cars, and maybe even at the start of a race because they can fuel up later. It's part of that strategy. So you first have to gain a good position on the track, a good start of the day, and then you can focus on continuing.
Yeah, I'm personally experimenting with that right now. Uh, I start my day every day at the same time. I wake up at 8. From next week, that will be 6 because I will
Hmm.
start with a new job. But I
Mhm.
start at, let's say, 6, and I instantly dress up for a workout, for going for a run. The first hour of my
Mhm.
day is dedicated to yeah, putting my
Exercise
body to work without having a meal.
without even
Yep,
and water, drinking water.
I drink some water in advance if I want, and I bring some water on my workouts. But now in winter, I don't sweat as much, so I don't lose so much
Mhm. Water.
water that you normally sweat out.
Hmm.
But water is okay. And after that, I try to, yeah, within a 30-minute time frame, get as much protein in my body as is like reasonable. And then
Hmm.
I later on in the day around lunch, maybe it's 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, I eat a lot of bread and protein and basically have my heavy meal. And I feel actually it may be part of some bias effect, but I really feel more energetic in the morning instead of like,
Okay.
oh, I just had my breakfast. Let me rest on the couch for a bit.
I don't experience a lot of differences between all those different strategies. I just eat and I go and I eat and when I sported at a high level,
Yeah, we know.
I once got that. the advice, it was quite common to eat 3 hours in advance and then carbohydrate-rich meal, white bread, little we call fasals, fibers, less, no, not less, little fibers, and a lot of carbohydrates. But it didn't work out for me. I didn't notice hardly any difference when later in my career I just ate a sandwich half an hour before the start and with butter on it and maybe something even fat like peanut butter. It even worked better than what they said in the books. And I even once we ate boerenkool. I think it's called coleslaw in English.
Could be. Yeah, the
And you
viewers
eat it.
can translate themselves.
Yeah, and yeah, and boerenkool, farmer's kool, literally translated. And in the Netherlands, we eat that with how you call it, worst sausage. So
Yep.
it's definitely not food before a race, but it was just a training bicycle race. And I ate my meal, and I had in a hurry. I went to the track, and I started competing within an hour after eating that fat sausage, and I won the race. So from that moment on, I didn't care what I ate because everything seemed to work out quite the same.
Yeah.
So I'm not the best example if you want to study that subject again. If
Uh,
you want to fine tune it, let's put it that way.
Actually, that's something I want to talk about more. Is the amount of carbohydrates we eat?
Carbo, I think, yeah, not carbon,
Carbohydrates.
carbo.
Yeah. Um, Basically, um, what I've heard all my life was carbohydrates are good. You need them. They give you energy. Fat
Hmm.
are like the worst thing you can eat.
Hmm.
But lately, I've heard the opposite, and I experimented a little bit with the opposite. Like I want to reduce the amount of carbohydrates. And sugar, of course, you want to minimize that as much as possible. But apart from sugars, carbohydrates in general are like the worst things you can probably eat.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. The worst thing you can eat is um, within fats. You have different kind of fats. I don't know if it's on this. Um,
Verzadigde en onverzadigde.
yes, and then you have also trans fat. So trans fat. I think it's in English. I don't know. Let's translate that.
Could
But
be.
that's the worst. You don't want to eat that those ones. But your ratio for saturated, unsaturated fats should be 2 to 1 or more to 1 for the unsaturated fats. So
And
you have to
what are those trans fats? Where can I find those?
trans fatten. For, my favorite cookies, uh, they say they're in those chocolate chip cookies. They have quite a high level of trans fat. Trans fatten in English is trans fats, yeah, according to Google.
But they are not typically indicated on your typical nutrition score uh, indication guide, whatever what's on the product. I don't see trans fats. I just see
Not no, not
saturated
anymore.
and unsaturated.
Yeah, but it used to be on the how you call it, verpakking.
Yeah, the package. Yeah, the nutrition score.
And
That little table that says carbohydrates, fats, protein, blah blah blah.
Yeah, I have
Amount
one
of calories.
the one I have in front of me is a French. So je ne parle le français très bien.
Je ne, comp
SpongeBob.
je ne comprends pas. Vous voulez répéter, s'il vous plaît?
Euh, moi, je parle le français mauvais. Parlez rendement, s'il vous plaît.
Parler is talking. Yeah. S'il vous
Yes.
plaît is please. Je ne comprends pas. Vous voulez répéter, s'il vous plaît?
Yeah, and parlez rendement. I believe it's please talk slowly. Please talk slowly.
All right.
But
Back to the point.
which point?
Trans
That
fats.
point? Trans fats. Yeah, trans fats. I can find, but you have to avoid them. Trans fats.
But are they in stuff like sunflower oil, or are they in stuff like butter mainly, or?
I think it's mostly animal fat,
Animal fat.
butter, and I think it's heated.
That's interesting.
Let's have a look.
Oh, that is all.
Oh, in I go to Dutch for a moment because it's much easier to explain. I'll read out loud, and perhaps you can subtitle it, or maybe we can summarize it in English in a moment. Transvetten zijn onverzadigde vetten die zeer schadelijk zijn. Oh, so they are unsaturated, onverzadigde vetten die zeer schadelijk zijn, ontstaan door chemische processen in de fabriek, hydrogeneren, waarbij deze onverzadigde vetten, zoals plantaardige oliën, hard gemaakt worden. Dus ze ontstaan door bewerking van voedingsmiddelen in de industrie en zijn zeer slecht voor de gezondheid. Het wordt sterk afgeraden omdat deze vetten niet verteerd kunnen worden door ons lichaam en zich ophopen in de buikwand. Bij consumptie van deze transvetten kunnen deze celfuncties verstoren.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds
So,
very worrying.
yeah, you can digest them. So they pile up in your body fat. So it's better to be someone who lives on the North Pole and eat a lot of fish and become fat because that's healthy fat. That's my teacher in science once. I think he was joking, but he said you can grow as fat as you want if you only eat fish and remain healthy. But if you have these trans fats in your body, that's the sluipmoordenaar, the silent killer.
Met hem aan het praten.
Oh, your sound is gone.
Yeah.
I'm back.
That's so.
Okay.
So it's better to be fat and on a fish diet than on a chemical processed food diet.
On a cookie diet, yeah. Yeah, but that's another rule of thumb. You can better eat food if you can see how it came into existence. The better you can see that, the better it is.
As a common rule of thumb.
Yeah.
So I've heard of this product called Athletic Greens. That's like a combination package of all kind of nutritions, vitamins, minerals, I don't know, whatever. You take one package a day with like 250 milliliters of water, and I've heard people like, I get all the minerals I need, vitamins, I feel energetic as never before throughout the day. How are you seeing that? Oh, we have 10 more minutes.
Well? For the subject or for the total conversation?
Yeah, both, but mainly this subject.
Okay. And do they eat Is it an addition or is it a replacement
It's
for?
in an addition, but
I don't use it.
it's like a replacement for your current meal. Like start light and have that smooth energy flow.
Yeah. Well, I think it's somehow useful because don't get shortages in vitamins and minerals and um, yeah, you have to see food as a I think basically I'm not an expert, but basically it has two functions. One is giving you energy, and two is giving you building materials for your body. And building materials can be just to grow or maintain your cells, but also for hormonal functions and stuff like that. So you have to take care of both. Supplying energy is easy. Just grab a spoon and eat the sugar bowl empty.
Uh,
But that's not going to do the cut. So you can use that product you just said and mess up your total diet because you have energy and you have vitamins and minerals. And I think in that case how you call it, schadebeperkend, damage control. What I like to do is just eat very variated. And I don't take supplements. Perhaps I should do because I don't eat fish. So I think I have a lack of that, but I eat nuts. So hopefully that compares. Um, but the main point I try to make is that I take as lot of the building blocks as I can just from regular food.
yeah.
And coming back to you said carbohydrates are dangerous or the most the least healthy fuel, so to say. Um, the problem is we eat a lot of processed foods. So the sugar, especially sugar, is isolated from the source. So if you eat an apple or a banana, it's rich in sugar and carbohydrates, but it's also rich in the vitamins and the minerals and the fibers. And your body needs those vitamins and fibers and minerals to process the sugars. So if you eat an apple, you have the full package. But if you eat a cookie or candy,
It's
you
more
have
out
a
of
little bit of,
balance.
yeah, you go in debt.
Yeah.
You use the building blocks from other sources, and if you don't aanvullen, als
Yeah.
je het niet aanvult, if
Replenish.
you don't, yeah, if you don't replenish, then your body is going to compensate, and that results in sickness or in inconveniences. And my main indicator of eating too much sugar are my nails.
Tell me.
I always had minor infections on here,
Oh yeah.
this part of my nail,
Where the
left
skin
and
like
right.
rips off.
Yeah. Um,
Where the skin
well,
gets a little loose.
yeah, my nails are quite healthy at the moment, but you get those little hooks on this. Yeah, yours are not bad as well. But you get those little hooks in yeah. It's I don't have a point here.
I'm currently pointing my middle finger to you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not watching, so it's to the audience. But if you get here those nasty hooks, That's the first stage, and then it gets red all over here. And yeah, when I started to watch out for, well, when I quit drinking soda or iced tea or apple sap as a part of my diet, because I did not see any harm in carbohydrates, because I was an athlete and I was very skinny. I didn't see the damage of those overload of sugars, but I had those infections, and it's on the surface, and you can't see what's below the surface between your organs and everywhere in your body. So,
Yeah.
you understand?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Like, goes back to the point of seeing where your food comes from. Like with an apple, you can see it grows on the tree.
Yeah, yeah, it's a whole food.
Yeah.
And well, my nails are my main indicator for judging my health, or at least judging the food part of maintaining my health.
Okay. Oh, maybe we can set up a guide for that later on.
Yeah,
Make a
maybe.
video about it,
But
or
not
make it a recurring
the,
subject.
not the how you call it, the scientific way, but just the practical part of it.
We are two brothers talking about how our nails look.
That's quite a good ad. Perhaps you should do your hair before you say the sentence again.
Wait, how does my hair translate to how unhealthy I eat? What does that say about my future? We can make that a recurring theme.
Mm-hmm.
Boys talking
And
about their
also,
nails.
quite recently, and
I mean,
I
man.
don't know.
Yeah, until recently, sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to pull the Bible in where I can, because I like the subject. It's just such a rich book. And lately I heard that, well, it was a testimony of someone who was sick, or actually it was a pastor who told about someone who was sick, and he recommended to read the Bible twice a day. I have to find the verse. Read the Bible twice a day, and within 5 days, the boy didn't have cancer anymore. So it was like a mental. It was a young child, so the parent read the Bible to him, and he had leukemia. And when he came back in the hospital, the doctor said, "You don't need to do this, how you call it, treatment anymore, because your levels are, yeah, going up again." So there is mystery in that as well. I haven't had a personal experience, but I will keep my eyes open on it, and perhaps it's a subject for another time.
Yeah, we have 1 minute remaining. We can
But
restart a new Zoom
why?
call.
Oh, the Zoom call is timing out.
Yeah, I don't
Oh, I
have the
thought
pro
you were
version.
go.
So let's take a short break and I will start a new call.
Yeah, I have to go to the bathroom, and I don't want to broadcast that.
I understand seeing that meal in front of you.
No, yeah, I haven't. No, it's not that part of the
Yeah,
process.
we will see. We'll be back.
I'll put a photo on. I won't share it on Twitter.
Yeah. Bye.
That was the joke.
We,
Oh, bye.
we need to end this call.
Yeah, I can hear you. It took a little longer because I had to do. I thought I put my washed clothes in the tumble dryer. Tumble dryer. I don't know. But then I noticed the clothes weren't that wet. Oh, wait a second. I need to wash my hands because of this story. The clothes weren't, yeah, and you are looking at the roof because the phone is on the charger. Let's see if I can fix that as well. Yeah, I don't have enough battery, but
Oh, you're muted. You're muted. Dennis, you are muted.
oh, I am muted. Oh, you missed the greatest joke of all time.
Probably.
Yeah.
When you set up your phone, you muted it.
Yeah, yeah, excuse me. I have a low battery, but 7%. So maybe it forces us to keep this a little bit short, so then I can do something else as well. But what I was trying to say, I used a break to put my clothes from the washing machine into the tumble dryer. Is that the right word? And I noticed that the clothes were quite dry. Well, maybe it was centrifuge. The centrifusion was good, but it wasn't. Because when I came to the bottom of the washing machine, there were the clothes that really needed to get washed. The practice underpants from my 2-year-old son,
Yeah.
which weren't only wet but also a little bit colored. So I put those back in the washing machine, pressed start, and now.
Now it's working.
Yeah, I hope you still want kids one day because I am a very good uncle. But I had to wash my hands afterwards. This is not good for a commercial, I guess. If this is episode 2, if you have to put it online in one episode, because if you make it 2 episodes,
I agree.
then everyone is gone now.
Yeah. I'll filter the breakout.
Yeah, maybe we start just here.
No. It's a good intro story. So, yeah, kind of drifted off from your health to what you're eating right now, to saturated fats, to trans fats, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, basically health and diet. So, where do you, how much do you prioritize health and diet in your life and to the life of your family?
Well, I tend to say little because it's not really an issue. You know what I mean? In general, I'm quite healthy. Health is only an issue when you're not healthy.
Yeah.
Then you value it more than ever. Um, so it's easy to say it's not important, but when I analyze my lifestyle and behavior and values, then it's quite important because um, this is the body you have to do everything with. And when it's in well, the best is when it's in good shape. But good shape is never good enough. Um, but when it's healthy, then you are able to do anything else.
And it is like, what do you optimize for? Do you optimize for short, uh, strong performance? Do you optimize for endurance? Do you optimize
Yeah,
for health, longevity? Do you prevent
exactly.
for
But that's
diseases? So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
what do
At
you
this moment,
prioritize?
it's just at this moment I don't prioritize anything. I think I just have uh,
It's
quite
probably
healthy
more of
thoughts.
a balance of, hey, I'm healthy.
Yeah,
I'm on a
I'm
budget. I don't have
I'm using
too big of goals.
at this moment. Well, my kids are 2 and 4 years old, so they require all of my spare time till till after dark. So there's little. time for at least for sports. And in the daytime, I have time to go out and ride my bike, but I have other interests at the moment. So my health is at the moment more a result of just habits I developed over the years for my sporting career, and just it has my interest, and I am convinced that your food, well, it's not even a matter of being convinced. It's just a fact that when you eat healthy, it has a good result on your physique. So um, I well, I think I'm in the stage of how you call it. You have four methods of control. So you're onbewust, you're unaware and uncapable. Is
Incapable.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And unaware, and then you became aware but still incapable. Then you become aware and capable, and then you become unaware, capable. And I think, and there's also always room for improvement, but I think
The best
eating
part is
healthy,
where you don't have to think about being capable.
yeah, it's a habit to eat healthy enough to have beautiful nails.
Wow. Oh, by the way,
So,
totally related topic. Have you heard there's a real life action movie about Barbie coming out?
action movie. I do watch the series, the animation series, when my daughter watches them, but she likes this the no,
It's
that's not what you meant.
a real time or real life action. Uh, I don't know, with
But
real
it's not a good
persons
movie.
about Barbie.
It's not an A movie.
I don't know.
You said it's Barbie. That's also a good joke. You almost have to laugh.
And comfortable silences are also nice to have. Okay, but yeah, where you don't have to think about being capable. That's where you ideally want to be. That's where you probably are right now. You have built
Yeah,
some
for
habits
health.
about
Yeah,
around health. You have some other priorities in your life. You want to, well, of course, you have two kids that you want to raise.
yeah,
That's a full time or maybe
yeah.
more than a
That's the
full
main
time thing.
priority.
But now you're
That's the main
also
priority.
aiming to be a ChatGPT-specialist.
I prefer to go back to health a little longer.
Okay.
Because you asked if it's important. Um,
Well,
no, I think I already made my case, didn't I?
I've asked this question to you before at Christmas, like which order do you prioritize the following with fun,
Yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah, exactly.
yeah, what meaning and purpose, growth, relationships, and health.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah. That's because I wanted to turn back to the subject, but I don't have the list in front of me. But yeah, all of those are important subjects, but mm, in order to work on any of them, your health needs to be
in
at
order,
least at a decent basic level.
but it doesn't need to be 100% perfect before you can start on the next ones.
No, because it will never be 100% perfect because
Yeah,
your referentiekader, what is that in English? You always compare with someone else.
yeah, and there
So
are many things to optimize for, as we've discussed before.
yeah, yeah, that's another interesting point because endurance or strength, you can train quite good for both of those opposites, but it's up to your genetics if you can be world class in it.
Yeah, and
And then
that's where
your
you
whole
start
time
comparing to other
with your
people.
sports. yeah, and then it also not you don't say if I do this and that, it results in an Olympic golden medal
Yep.
because it's not um, it's not an absolute measure
Yeah, there are
because it's
multiple factors at play.
so
You
someone
also need
else.
to have like the brain to
Yeah, but
be
that's
strategic in a certain
yeah,
sport or
but
game, and you need the
yeah, but
right
that's not the
support,
point.
the right budget, the
That's
right
not the point.
opportunities.
That's not the point I'm making. You are right about that. But if you go on a holiday, you just need to reach your destination, and then you have succeeded 100%. But an Olympic goal. Waar was ik? Oh ja, met die Olympische medaille, hè?
Ja.
Dit
Zo.
praat wel minder lekker. Die Olympische medaille. Zo. Nou ja, je snapt het denk ik al wel, het punt wat ik wil zeggen. Want als je op vakantie gaat, dan is het een kwestie van je bestemming bereiken. En dan heb je het goed gedaan, want dat is absoluut meetbaar. Maar in een sportwedstrijd ben je afhankelijk van hoe goed of slecht iemand anders is. Dus daarom is een sport als...
Can we go back to English?
Oh, I thought I was talking in English. I forgot I don't know.
Isn't that interesting? So back to the
Yeah,
gold medals.
yeah, the gold medal.
Yeah.
When you go on a holiday and you reach your destination, then you know you have done it well. It's measurable and you have completed the goal. But in sports, you're depending on someone else.
The
So
performance of others, of the ones you're
yeah,
competing with.
yeah. So when you talk about optimizing your health, this is the most extreme as you can go, and then still maybe speed skating is a good example because those circumstances are almost the same every time. But then you have world records who can only be broken at high level
Altitude.
skating
Yeah.
venues, at high altitudes. So that's one. And then you have 500 meters and 1000 meters and 1500 meters, which are all within 2 minutes as an exercise. So it's not even long, but you have different kind of people who are good at that distance. And even within a career, someone can change between those. You can see my body language now. That sucks. So I have to look at my screen and it's not mirrored. So if I go right, forget. The point I'm trying to make, if you are a 500-meter specialist, you can change your training and become a 1000-meter specialist and maybe even 1500, but then it's over. But you can, yeah. So that's what I'm trying to say. It's never 100% because when you win something in one part, you lose it on the other part. So yeah,
and
it's easier.
That's just in health. In your physique, there are multiple pillars to optimize for.
Yeah.
And then health
So
is just one pillar of this thing called life.
yeah, I would say a foundation.
Yeah, it elevates the others probably, or it allows you to perform better at other tasks, but it doesn't
Or maybe it's central.
necessarily directly translate to higher levels. It allows you to make the best use of your time. It doesn't
Yes.
guarantee it.
Yeah, and I think it's if you are talking about optimizing, it's important to have goals, but I don't have to explain that to you. You already knew it.
That's actually one of my questions I wanted to ask you. What are your goals?
I'm very bad at goals. Um,
I'm not a goal-orientated person, I guess.
Okay, then I will ask
I
it in a different manner,
Well,
maybe.
I can go on for a moment, and then you can adjust your
Yeah,
question,
let's do that.
because my focus is on improving and yeah, learning. Learning is the general factor in that. In mountain biking, um, it was a little bit useless to say this is my goal to become national champion or competing at the world championships, because it's depending on what others do. So I had to focus on improving myself. So
Well,
maybe that is a goal. Maybe that is a goal in itself, and you can adjust your training so you can be good in a particular month and a little less good in another month, because you need the rest in order to achieve the peak form. So that's talking about goals. That's a goal. Adjust your training schedule towards the peak moment in a season. But in sports, I rarely have had goals in achieving a certain result. Does
yeah.
that make sense?
Well, what I heard was your goal is not necessarily compete at a world class level, but rather win at world class level, or at
What's
least
the goal
do
to
your
win?
best. Well, you said like when I competed at a world class level, it was not like I had completed my goal. I wanted to optimize
Oh,
at that
no,
level.
that's yeah, exactly. When you reach the level of competing, your focus changes from competing to uh, battling for the podium, and when you reach that, it goes on to winning, and when you reach that, it goes on to winning
Breaking
next time.
records.
Yeah, so it's a never-ending cycle, and that when you experience that, it's never enough. It's hard to scale back at a decent level, because it's when you're climbing the mountain and you are almost at the top, and then you realize, okay, that last part, I'm not able going to make that. You scale back, but here it's not interesting because you were there. So here it's not interesting. It's the same as here. It's the same as here.
Yeah.
So just step on your bike and have fun. Remain healthy, and then the fun. When you're not competing to others, the fun is in the exercise again.
So,
But when you train more, it is more fun to sport.
well, what brings this to mind to me is like you can be better than anyone else, break all the records, you can win every tournament, you can be the best in the world, but does that make you happy? And I think if you constantly look up what's the next thing I can do, what's the next thing I can win, is a little bit toxic in that sense that
Mhm.
it doesn't make you appreciate everything that you've worked for and everything you were before.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
ultimately,
the level
I
you've gained
think that
becomes the
makes
standard.
that I'm making a case for, hey, take a step back and look at how you improved as a person compared
Yeah,
to where you were yesterday, rather than
yeah.
compare yourself to the world, to everyone living in different circumstances with different genes, with different
Mhm.
yeah times
But you have
even.
to be aware of that. It's a decision to look at it that way. because as soon as you reach a certain level, that becomes standard.
Yeah.
And you don't see it anymore. You have to step out of the situation and analyze it from a third party perspective.
And that's where I also want to intervene. Like, you can become better at a certain sport than you were before, but you can also get to that level and then explore this different aspects of life and improve there, like studying philosophy or giving to charity. Maybe start a business and scale to a ridiculous size so that you can have an impact on the world rather than setting record after record after record. You can use your
but you know,
baseline of performance to improve yourself in different areas.
yeah, but I've never been there in business. I've tried, but I have not succeeded in a financial way for now. I think it's there as well because I started my business. I had a great product. It worked. It was technically it was awesome, but I couldn't manage to market it good enough to make a living out of it. So that was my I had succeeded in many levels, but it felt like a failure because I was not making a living out of it. So, and it's still hard to appreciate what I've done in that process. But maybe an how you say that, een buitenstaander, an outsider.
Yeah.
An outsider says, well, you've done this, it's great what you made, and I think, well, but I'm not making a living out of it. What was not, maybe not even the purpose, but a condition to go on with it. And another outsider can say, well, you've done this and that, great, but it's useless because you are not financially independent. You didn't become financially independent from it, if that is his standard. It's all a matter of perspective. And you just mentioned happiness, and I think yesterday I had an interesting conversation about happiness. A Spanish guy who had a journal for 18 years to see what circumstances would improve his happiness. So he wants to analyze now using ChatGPT what were the conditions for him to be happy in order to reach that state of mind more often. So I asked him, from my internal philosopher, isn't happiness by definition a relative condition? Is it a relative? I seek the word for
a relative state of mind
experience.
of being.
Isn't a state of mind experience, because you always compare it with your previous situation or other people. And so happiness by definition can't, satisfaction is more than duurzaam.
Yeah.
It goes for a longer time. Happiness is a peak emotion. Yeah. Satisfaction is more sustainable than happiness, because happiness is some kind of peak emotion. You need the lows to experience the highs.
Actually,
the Alps are a great example.
Half a year ago, I wrote it down for me, like, complete opposite way. I'm happy, but I'm not satisfied. I went the complete other, the opposite of that. Like, I'm happy with what I have, the health I have, the ambitions I have. I'm happy that I can learn, I can grow, I can work on myself, and I realize that I can do that. But I'm not yet satisfied with the results I've accomplished.
Yeah, so
but I can always go back to my base level of happiness. Hey, this morning again, I was testing my new microphone. I was discovering video software, and I was like getting frustrated. Yeah, I was basically punching a pillow against the wall, but then something in me still could go back and said like, "Hey, Fabian, remember you are happy. This is where you can grow. This is where you learn mistakes, and this is where in 10 years' time you'll probably look back, or maybe not even remember it at all. But if you look back, you can say like, hey, that was part of the journey of discovering.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
needed that resistance to meet my satisfaction, but I was already
But
like in a state of happiness.
isn't it like the quote then? Happiness is, happiness is wanting what you get, and success is getting what you want. So uh, you are wanting what you get, what you have, but you're lacking success.
Or satisfaction. Yeah, I think that's
But maybe another analogy is the Alps. You know the mountains?
mhm.
When you drive from here to Austria, you go through Limburg and then the Eifel and then Germany, and it goes on the hills up, down, up, down, up, down. But
Schwarzwald.
mostly Schwarzwald, yeah. But mostly it goes up because when you reach the Alps and you see those impressive mountains, you're at the basic level. You're, yeah, the mountains are all above you, and you're at the, how do you call it, in a dal.
Yeah, in the valley, whatever.
Valley, yeah, you're in the valley. But when you look at your altitude level, above sea level, you're at 500 meters above sea level. So the first peaks you see when you see the north side of the Alps, those peaks are 1,000 or 1,500 meters above sea level. So you're, yeah, the difference between your valley and the nearest peak is maybe 300 meters. That's less than the altitude you are already at.
The absolute altitude.
Yeah, but you don't see that because you compare it with your surroundings. So it's a little bit like that, I guess.
Yeah, and that's kind of
And
what a realization of happiness. That's a great analogy, I think. It's easier to go from when you're already in the valley to the top than when you have to start at an actual sea to get to the top. Then the journey is like,
yeah,
where do I even begin?
yeah, what are the
And when
mountains?
you're already in the
What is a
valley,
mountain?
yeah, exactly. I think that's a great analogy.
And when it snows in the mountains, when there falls 1 kilometer or 2 kilometers of snow, there are no mountains left. Just
Does that make you
maybe
happy
hills.
or does that make you dead?
Dead? When there's
When
two
there's two
kilometers of
kilometers
snow?
of snow on top of you. Yeah.
No, no, you're on top of the snow.
Oh,
But then you have no highs
no
anymore.
mountains. Yeah.
While you are above the highest mountain, you don't experience the peak.
So we have less than 1 minute remaining on this session.
Again.
Shall we
Well, I think
renew?
we're doing something good because time goes fast.
I shall renew this session then.
Yeah, we have to finish it, I guess. Then I can some cleaning in house and uh, continue on a project.
All right.
I was
So last
working on.
finishing words. I think there's also a balance in satisfaction and happiness because you need the challenges in life in order to grow and to appreciate
Yeah,
everything you have,
it's about the journey. It is about the journey.
and not where you are constantly.
But perhaps you need the journey. You need to pick some issues, I think. I think that's one of the keys.
Okay, that's where we wrap it up then.
Yeah.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Yeah. Bye bye.
Bye.